The development of the next gen car is complete and they're going to be testing it a lot this year. And in other news, I have a mustache. Let's talk about it. The development of the next gen car is complete, so I wanted to take some time today to talk about what that means for testing, about the manufacturer, design rollouts, and all that fun stuff. But first, I wanted to give you guys an update on the giveaway. As many of you guys know, we're doing a giveaway here on this channel, and it's on track to be over here in just a couple of days. I'm giving away a 1-year iRacing subscription or a diecast of equal or lesser value. Link is in the description below, but if you missed out, don't worry, I'm going to do another one at some point in the future, so stick around for that. And also in other news, I wanted to take a quick second to explain why I have a mustache. That's a fair question that you probably have right now. I have a mustache right now because I was a huge Dale Earnhardt fan growing up, and this is the 20-year anniversary of his death, and I just wanted to do something fun to remember Dale by, drive my wife a little bit crazy in the meantime. I was 7 years old when he passed away, so as you can imagine, a 7-year-old doesn't understand the concept of death, especially like when it's your hero. When your hero passes away at 7 years old, that's a pretty hard thing to cope with and understand. So this is just a fun thing that I'm doing this year, just because. But enough of the housekeeping stuff. Development of the next gen car is officially complete. All 3 manufacturers have submitted their designs to NASCAR and they've been approved. There's going to be a lot of testing coming up, a lot of different types of testing. You got to remember, NASCAR has spent all this time developing this race car, getting it the way that they want it, and now the teams, Goodyear, the OEMs, they all 3 have to spend time understanding the car, how to work on it, how to develop tires for it, what works, what doesn't. There's just a lot to learn in the coming months for those groups of people. There's 7 tests scheduled for the wheel force transducer cars, which is kind of for the OEMs to be able to get data for their purposes. There's 3 organizational tests for the teams. I'd imagine that this will probably be a little bit later in the year once there's some stock of the next gen cars built up and teams are able to take delivery of them and get them prepared and all that fun stuff. And then there's going to be 4 Goodyear tire tests, so Goodyear can kind of get some data. And I would imagine Goodyear will be at a bunch of these other tests, so they're going to be gaining data beyond just those 4 tire tests anyways. Goodyear especially is really going to have their work cut out for them because the tires coming off the trucks and Xfinity cars are not going to be compatible with the next gen car. They're coming out with completely new designs, new compounds. Everything is going to have to be done from the ground up on these cars, so they really have a lot of work ahead of them. A reveal for all 3 of the manufacturer-specific models is scheduled for late spring. However, there is a proposed wheel force test in late March where we could see the manufacturer-specific designs. I would imagine that for that particular test, they're probably going to have the cars camouflaged, especially if they're planning like a big PR day where they announce the designs and kind of show them off and do a bunch of fancy things like that. Personally, I'm really interested to see how much leeway NASCAR gives the OEMs on their manufacturer-specific designs. I think that's going to be really cool to see how close they end up looking like to the showroom cars. I know with the proportion of the body and the size of the wheels and all that, it has the potential to appear a lot more stock on the racetrack. Motorsports in general is kind of in a really weird place right now. Auto racing used to be a proving ground for manufacturers, for them to develop things that they want to eventually put in their street cars, and then they could use motorsports to market it to people. But these days, manufacturers are focusing on things like driver comfort and AI and fuel mileage, things that have no place being in a race car. And this has been putting NASCAR in a really tough place for like the past 10, 15, 20 years really, because they're constantly being put at odds with what the fans want and what the manufacturers want. So I think the next gen car is kind of NASCAR's answer to that. I think they're trying to make the fans as happy as possible while also making sure the manufacturers are good with everything that's going on. I can't imagine that's a very easy thing to do. I'm sure just purely from a business standpoint, there were a lot of tough decisions to make in the development of this race car. I'm really excited to see what it's able to do on the racetrack. I'm really excited to see some footage from some of these tests, kind of start making my mind up about it. I like the design of it. I think the design looks really good. I think the lack of side force is a really good underestimated thing. It's got a really short deck lid on the back of the race car that I think will help out quite a bit from an aero standpoint. I think it's going to put on good racing, but we'll have to see. Time will tell how successful NASCAR was in this process, and I think a lot of people are going to be watching these tests really closely over the next few months. So Anyways, I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. What do you think about the next gen car? What kind of future do you see for it? And also, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon so you know when I upload new videos, and you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram. I have links for those in the description below. But until next time, my name's Tyler. This is Tight End Loose Off, and I'll see you later.